Hello everyone, I welcome you all on this YouTube channel UPSC Logy. This is me Rahul and today we are going to cover The Hindu for your public administration optional dated 8th of November 2021. And before starting, let me tell you that you can join the Telegram channel Pubedpedia from the link given in the description box, and you will be able to get the PDF of public administration current affair magazine on that YouTube Telegram channel itself. So you can join it and you can go to the files section and you will be able to get it. And if there is any problem, you can just ping me there in order to get the magazine of Pubedpedia. Okay, that will help you in your current affairs preparation of public administration optional. Okay, so here current state of affairs at the Tihar shows management is going downhill. This is something that is there in the newspaper of The Hindu. So you need not to go into the nitty-gritties of the management issues of Tihar jail, because you are preparing for UPSC, not for Delhi service itself. So that's why what you have to understand is the overall view of prisoners or prison in India. Why? Because what happened is that in your public administration paper 2 there is the topic called law and order administration, and under law and order administration criminal justice system is important. So criminal justice system is one of the component of law and order, and criminal justice system includes 3 to 4 basic parameters or basic you can say the kind of integral parts, and these parts include the kind of police is there, judiciary is there, jails are there, and the process of conviction. So these are 3 to 4 points that you need to understand when it comes to entire criminal justice system. Malimat committee report is also there with respect to the criminal justice system, etc. So that particular report talks about all these aspects one by one. So here we are going to understand the statistics of prisoners in India, the kind of situation that our jails or the prison system in India is you can say the kind of system in which they are basically they are working. Okay, so instead of going into this article, what you have to understand is the NCRB report dealing with the prison statistics in India. So here you can refer to this thing. So I'm referring to this website drishtiias.com. So you can also refer it whenever you need some extra material or extra content. So I can refer to the original report of NCRB itself, but that is very long report, and what you have to understand is the basic summary of the report. So that's why I'm referring this website over here. So here some of the key findings of the report are, so the findings of NCRB's Prison Statistics India report. So if you just scroll it further, you will find Prison Statistics India 2019 report we are referring over here. So what you have to understand is this organization NCRB is there, National Crime Record Bureau, and it publishes different reports on annual basis, or for that matter you can say biannual basis, or it means they are basically publishing some reports, and few reports are like the most popular one is the Crime in India report that analyzes the state of crime in India. Similarly, there is another report called Prison Statistics India, okay, PSI, and this talks about the basic prison statistics insofar as the India is concerned. Okay, so here what are the important findings of the report? The most important finding that you need to remember by your heart is this thing, that under trials in India are among the highest in the world. So this is something that is not good. So under trials, you must be knowing about who are under trials. Under trials are the people, are the individual who are arrested for the as an accused for a particular crime, but the process of proving the crime is undergoing. So they are called as the under trials. Okay, so this is something that is there, and in India we have the largest population insofar as the under trials are concerned. 68% of the total individuals who are there in the jails who are there in the prisons, 68% of them are under trial. So just try to understand the state of affairs insofar as the prisons are concerned. So if you take 100 people, 68 are under trials, means their crime is not proved yet. Okay, so maybe they might be, you can say, they might be innocent as well. So this is the this is unfortunate thing. So just try to remember 68% thing. And under trials are the people who are yet to be found guilty of the crimes they have been accused of. And apart from that, there is a rise of number of people held under the administrative or preventive detention law in Jammu and Kashmir. So this was their 300% increase. So it was not that important, but yes, you need to remember this thing. There is a gap between the number of prison eligible to be released and actually released. So basically there is one section called 436A of this code of CRPC. So this section basically says that under trials to be released on a personal bond if they have undergone half of the maximum term of imprisonment they would have faced if convicted. So let's say I have committed some crime. Okay, so let's say the crime that I have committed, if that crime will be proved in future, then I would be able to, or I would be punished for the imprisonment of 5 years. Okay, let's say this is the crime. Let's say there is any crime for which the conviction is 5 years, and this under trial process, the process in which the crime is being proved, the process of proving the crime, let's say since 2.5 years, half of the total, you can say, in the years. So let's say 2.5 year in the process, in this under trial, and in this process of under trial, my time of 2.5 year is being you can say is gone away. So in that particular process, what happened, that after 2.5 years I will be released after signing a particular bond, after, you can say, I would be eligible to be released and actually released after this signing of the bond and after this entire procedure. So this will help the prison authorities to basically reduce the kind of burden that they are having. Already 68% are there. So basically there is a gap between the utilization or the uses of this specific provision. So under trials are going on, and under trials are basically they are not getting this opportunity to sign the bond and the opportunity to get released from the jails. Okay, so this is the entire scenario. I hope you are getting this. And apart from that, the number of the unnatural death in prison has doubled. So unnatural death are increasing. So this again, you can link it with the recently CGI was talking about the things that there is a kind of human right violation in the police stations and in the jails itself, you can say. So ultimately this is all about the kind of problem with respect to the law and order administration that we are having. Okay, so there is a problem of law and order administration, because what we are basically doing is, insofar as the correctional administration, we are not focusing on rehabilitation, but we are focusing on retribution. बदले की भावना से जो है वहाँ पे there is a kind of retribution insofar as the kind of let's say the treatment of prisoners are concerned. Okay, so हम उन्हें एक बदले की भावना से कि अब इन्होंने crime कर दिया and we are going to give you the punishment. So that idea of punishment should be we should focus on rehabilitation. Authorities should focus on rehabilitation and so that they can feel that reform, so that they can reform themselves. अभी क्या है, वो बिल्कुल ही एक तरीके से there is a kind of taboo, there is a kind of retribution feeling, and that is ultimately leading to the idea of recidivism. What is recidivism? Recidivism is the idea where a particular person is committing the crime again and again. Okay, so he will commit a crime, and after the completion of the procedure and all, he will come out of the prison, but again the society will not accept that person. The kind of taboo, the kind of you can say the social boycott, etc. will continue, and that person will again commit another crime. So there is a kind of recidivism. This is what we have to understand, that there is a need to bring some kind of ethics and kind of attitudinal behavioral perspective insofar as the treatment of these prisoners are concerned. So unnatural death basically means that there is a kind of let's say human right violation or something like that. So NHRC keep on talking about the things like this. And apart from that, mental health, there was only one mental health professional for every 21,650 prisoners. So this is another, you can say, bad state of affairs insofar as the mental health condition of the prisoners are concerned. So this is how you have to understand. And there should be a welfare officer. This is what Prison Act 1894 and Prisoners Act 1900 were talking about, but recruitment is still pending. So welfare, mental health, under trials are high, unnatural deaths are there. So ultimately we have seen that the entire scenario is not that good. Okay, and apart from that, data limitation are also there. So there is no demographic details of religion, etc., because in the jails there are no, you can say, they are not going to vote in the election, and that's why when it comes to caste census and the kind of other things, the politicians or the political will is to get the religion caste of the people who are going to vote, not for these people, because they are not going to vote in the elections, obviously. So this kind of thing. So I'm saying all these things on a lighter note, but yes, you can understand that there is no data insofar as the religion, SC, ST, all the status of the prisoners are concerned, not include demographic details. And apart from that, does not include the prisoner visit by official and non-official. There is no record insofar as the visit of officials and non-officials. Okay, so again that kind of thing is there, means which typically include district magistrate, judges, social workers and researchers. This is essential to uncover the torture. So let's say if let's say one criminal is there and many authorities or many officials, unofficials, non-officials are visiting him, it basically means that there is a kind of something is going on. Okay, so something, it might be torture, it might be something else, it might be anything. Okay, so there should be some record so that transparency, balance of power and balance of power asymmetry in prison, all these things can be tackled. Okay, and apart from that, mental health, well-being data is not there. So data deficiency is something that is there in the prisoners. This is ultimately you can take the conclusion of this entire 3 points. Okay, and what should be done insofar as the prison reforms is concerned. So basically pre-trials detention, so this 68% under trials, this needs to be changed, and there should be the kind of utilization of section 436A that we have covered earlier, that the utilization is not happening, so that should be utilized. Similarly, under trial should be released. Law Commission of India recommended that under trial should be released. Okay, released on bail, etc. So I have told you earlier, 436A provides that legal backing, so that should be used. Law Commission was talking like that. And apart from that, unified prison management system. So unified prison management system, and there should be the kind of unified system that record all the inmates, so they don't have to run from pillar to post for copies of the document like court order, etc. So that entire thing should be digitalized or unified, not digitalized, but yes, unification should be there, so that courts and judiciary and let's say police station or jail or everything should be connected. Because let's say under trial is there, so under trial should go in all this, would go in all this cycle. Okay, so that's why we are calling it as the criminal justice system. Criminal justice system includes all these components, so that's why there should be the integration of these components. And recently in the previous month or so, we have covered the articles that what are the advantages and disadvantages of all this entire you can say digitalization or integration or unification of criminal justice system. So you can refer to that as well if you are the subscriber of the magazine itself. And apart from that, capacity building of prison staff, so this is also there. So there is a need to means there should be the capacity building insofar as the staff is concerned. And apart from that, staff is also, there is a pending of staff, there is also the lack of women staff. So again, the gender issues in the prisons is something that you can highlight. And apart from that, skill development of the prisoners, so that after the completion of their conviction, after the completion of their the imprisonment, after that when they released, when they got the freedom, they can do something. So after the you can say after that freedom, okay, so that they can be properly integrated in the society after their you can say arrival. Let's say a particular person was there in the prison from 1990s, and when he got released, so today if he got released, what he will observe is the proper digitalization. Earlier there was no mobile phone like that, but today everybody has mobile phone. So there is a kind of you can say generation gap, or there is a kind of change, or the kind of transformation. So they have to be they have to be provided with that skill, so that they can get the opportunity, so that they can be properly integrated into the society. Okay, I hope you are getting. And apart from that, post release financial security of prisoners. Okay, so financial security for prisoners, so that they can do something in their lives, so that they can integrate it well in the society, and all the things are there. Okay, so these are the statistics insofar as the prisoners are concerned. I hope you are getting all the nitty-gritties, so you can refer to this article insofar as this news is concerned. And apart from that, there is one more article that you need to refer for your criminal justice system itself. And here basically law and order administration, UAPA related article is there, a new jurisprudence for political prisoners. So if you read this article, simply what you need to understand that recently Supreme Court in one of its judgment was talking about the things like so if you know about the UAPA, there are some provision in the UAPA in which the kind of, if you are a member of a terrorist organization, you can be booked in you will be booked in this UAPA. But if you have something like the kind of accused of if a person is accused of something, some you can say material or some book or some other kind of things with respect to that organization, okay, that terrorist organization, then also that person will be booked under UAPA. So there is a kind of, you can say, scope of misuse of this thing. Okay, so in this judgment, Supreme Court was more empathic and liberal when it said that mere association with the terrorist organization is not sufficient to attract the offense alleged. Okay, so basically the Supreme Court is going against that, you can say, ambiguous or the kind of open provision of this UAPA. So you can just remember that Supreme Court was saying like that. And apart from that, if you go into the nitty-gritties, there is some kind of hypocrisy in the law. So you can basically, there is a kind of criticism of law you should be aware of, so that you can use it somewhere, and if there is no issue, then you can just avoid it in the answers. Okay, so here the UAPA section 43D5 of UAPA says that for many of the offense under the act, the bail should not be granted. So basically there is a provision, there is a kind of principle that bail is the norm and imprisonment is the norm and imprisonment etc. or something like that is the exception etc. So there are some courts, and this UAPA is more stringent, and that's why things are like this. Similarly, there is one 43D2. Here we are talking about 43D5. Okay, so let me bring the marker etc. So in 43D5 it says that offense that bail should not be granted. This is the 43D5. No need to remember, but just try to understand that something like that is there. Similarly, 43D2 it says that a person can be detained for 180 days. So again, if you read the constitutional articles etc., so there is a kind of, you can say, this, because this is a special act, Unlawful Activities Act is a special act, so you will find the kind of, you can say, extra kind of you can say provisions. Okay, apart from that, presumption of guilt. So I have told you 43D5, 43D2, and if you look at this thing further, you will find presumption of guilt. So generally what happen is that there is a kind of presumption of innocent, that a person is innocent until proven guilty. But here 43E of the act expresses that presumption as to the offense. So there is a presumption of offense in this specific UAPA. Okay, so I hope you are getting, and same goes with the kind of you can say provisions in the acts with respect to women, in so far as the women are concerned, and same applies on the acts which are dealing with the atrocities against SCs and STs. In all these things, the accused has to prove that he is innocent, otherwise he is proven, he is basically there is a kind of presumption of guilt. Okay, so I hope these are the exceptional scenarios, like SC/STs, women, and this security perspective. I hope you are getting. So these are the things, and according to section 43d5, so again 43d2, 43d5 we have seen earlier as well. So according to that 43d5, jail is the rule and bail is often not even an exception. So here jail is the rule and bail is not even an exception. Okay, so this is again a kind of special provision. So ultimately what you have to understand, you have to go through the things so that you can write, you can analyze, you can critically analyze the UAPA provision, etc. Just try to remember this judgment as well. And apart from that, one more thing that you need to understand, a new jurisprudence for political prisoners. So basically the writer is using this keyword political prisoners. What you have to understand that you have this topic under criminal justice system, under law and order, or let's say in public administration per se, there is a topic called criminalization of politics. Criminalization of politics is given in your syllabus. Criminalization of politics, what is the process called criminalization of politics? It basically means that criminals are taking part in the you can say process of politics. For example, they are fighting the election, they are even winning the election, and they are they are working as the MPs, MLAs, etc. So as per ADR, Association for Democratic Reforms, 43% of MPs, honorable member of the parliament, they have this charges. They have the criminal charges against them. I'm not talking about civil charges. They have criminal charges and they are charges. Okay, so again they are not proven. So that's how the things are. So ADR report. So this report, or this criminalization of politics, this is going against the idea of constitutionalism. So as you know about the idea of constitutionalism under the philosophy of the constitution and the government of India, or in the constitution of India. So constitutionalism is something where letter and spirit, the things are same, or limited government is known as the constitutional government. UPSC has asked this question in prelims in 2020 and 2021. So constitutionalism is there. So what you have to understand that this criminalization of politics is there. Similarly, there is another term called politicization of crime. So crime is being politicized. So those criminals who are means there is a kind of politicization of crime, means crime and politics are being matched. So here you can say political prisoners. So when a particular person is being declared as the prisoner, when a particular person is being declared as a criminal or prisoner in turn, then this is if this is happening because of the politics and politicization, you can say it as the example of politicization of crime. Means some crime is happening and there is a kind of politicization. Similarly, the kind of you can say the kind of the Bahubalis are there and all those things. So who are being used by the politicians in order to get the you can say votes, etc., in order to get their things done. So that is also the example of politicization of crime. Let's say a particular one politician, second politician, so they are using some criminals. So this is known as politicization of crime. So you must be knowing about the movies, etc. So in all those things you will find the politicization of crime. So criminalization of politics is different, politicization of crime is different, and political prisoner is something that is you can say again use of politics. And this you can use these things insofar as the democratic or the ideas or the philosophy of the constitution, that these things should not be there, politicization should not be there. So politicization of democracy can be done, but politicization of prisoners, politicization of crime, politicization of you can say all these things should not be there. Politicization of religion should not be there. Politicization of you can say harassment against women should not be there, politicization of anything, politicization of national security should not be there, politicization of anything and everything should not be there. So there are some things where politicization is okay, like politicization of government, politicization of democracy is something that we can expect, that we can accept, but yes, this is something that you need to analyze. I hope you are getting, this is it, and आज थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया, but still I hope it would help you in your examination. This is it for the day. Thank you so much.